Hey, family, it is Sarita, your Chief Spiritual Officer, and I am really excited to be back with everyone today. I have been for the last year in a study group for the book A Course in Miracles. And these last couple of weeks, I have seen so many synchronicities. And I wanted to dive into something the Course in Miracles showed me about being a devoted teacher and how it really connects to everything from when I was working in New York in fashion to my current work in the cannabis industry. And it's about really how do we let go of our ego as a safety mechanism? And that just kind of reminded me about things that I had learned in New York. Like in fashion, everything has a price tag. Everything's being judged, your eye, your taste, your ability to find the next trend, notice the next wave, what is happening, what is culturally making people be interested and involved in what is going on in the world and in the industry. And I remember when I was working in sales and buyers would come into the showroom, they're deciding if that item, if that collection, what it's worth in minutes to them, but being in those rooms showed me, a lot about worth. And New York, I think as a whole showed me just something deeper in that when you're working with luxury brands, right? Um, you learn that price and worth aren't the same thing. And that can subconsciously creep into the system, into your system, and you start even questioning, your own worth. If society is projecting that you should drive this car and have this house and have all of these things, that is, that external validation. But in this portion of A Course in Miracles, Jesus means, and what he's saying in this part is that our worth was established by God, point blank, period. There's nothing you could do, say, or think that changes this. And once you recognize that, you can put your ego and the need for outside validation to the side, let Jesus deal with it, right? And you can go about radiating positivity and light because you're not worried about that. And there's one part in the book. We have like a little workbook companion too. In this, it says here, the devoted teacher, paragraphs 1 through 13. This section revisits course scribe Bill Thetford's fear of teaching, already discussed in the fear of teaching. One major reason Bill is afraid of teaching is that he sees his self-image as being at the mercy of the image his students might have for him. In his eyes, he can only lose from this interaction. If they disapprove of his teaching and reject him, he will feel depressed by his low level of worth. On the other hand, if they exalt his image, he will feel above them and on his lonely pinnacle will feel yet more separation anxiety. Ironically, Jesus says that both of these feelings are coming from the same exact place, right? And that is just our narcissism, our own ego, both places, whether it's like the fear of success or the fear of like hitting it, being in the flow and, going to the top, whatever that, looks like for you. Um, Ironically, Jesus says that both fears are coming from the exact same place. The egotistical teacher expects to be raised high and goes for it. Bill expects to be brought low and refuses to suit up. Both are focused on having the best image possible. So, in that sense, your ego is trying to protect you, but it's stunting your growth and it's stunting your ability to learn from the change. And I think what was really interesting for me was that in the sense of knowing this, that your spirit and your ego are both existing, but your spirit is what's really true. Your ego is what you built up to protect you. But if your intention is true and if your intention is pure, then you're moving in that space of authenticity and alignment. And so that should hopefully bring you some ease, if you have a fear of success or trying something or going for something. I mean, this passage in this section made me think about my YouTube channel, right? Like I was busy and was, you know, um, getting new opportunities and I was taking up a lot of my time. But this is important to me. This is like my own like TV network. And I have this unique opportunity to connect with people and to share on this level of spirituality that's really just us getting back to ourselves, just getting back to things that we already knew that's just been buried and hidden and suppressed. And there was a bit of like fear, there's going to be people that are going to enjoy this, there are going to be people who aren't, and it was more so fearful for the people who aren't and what they're going to say. But then I said, whoa, 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 girl, you have to know who you are, and I know who I am and I know whose I am, and I know that my worth, again, this YouTube today or tomorrow, if I never even started it, if I never do another video, that's not where my worth lies. That's not where your worth lies. So I think it's important for people just to recognize that your worth was already established. You are divine. You absolutely matter. Your feelings matter. Don't mean that everybody's going to bend to your will of your feelings, but they do matter. You matter. And everyone matters. The animals matter, right? We we can't discount anything because we are all created in his image. And I really liked this idea of, if you just put your ego on me and let me deal with that and just focus on doing the work, focus on letting your light shine, focus on being radiant, then that's all I'm asking. That's just really all that I'm asking. And one thing that I learned in New York is that my worth is not in knowing the latest trends, having the perfect outfit, going to the top hairstylist or esthetician. It was being authentic enough to help others find their power through fashion. And it eventually evolved into me not using fashion to seek outside validation, but more so as a tool to connect, more so as a tool to connect. And that took a lot of time, a lot of years. And even when I think about the cannabis industry, that I'm in, um, this is a new industry. It's still emerging. It's still being built and finessed and nurtured, but there have been some winners in this industry, and that can even feed your ego, or it can teach you to be authentic, especially when we talk about like corporate cannabis that has totally missed the culture and the community, that I believe is truly what the industry is really built on: community, love, being stress free, elevating your mind. So how do we still remain authentic in that and not come from a place of ego as our star begins to rise? things, continue to happen for us. And one thing that I was even thinking about on the next lesson, um, it was again talking about how the ego is a mechanism that keeps us safe. But we don't need to rely on our ego to keep us safe. But one of the questions was, think about situations you found yourself where you've had an opportunity to teach, broadly speaking. How would you experience those situations if you believed that if you will seek, align yourself to be a devoted teacher rather than an egocentric one, you will not be afraid? And I said, I think I would be more open to assistance, direction. I would find the opportunity to enlighten others through my own enlightenment and aha moments more delightful. Like a kid, it's like, oh my God, let me tell you what I just learned. This was so cool, right? Um, but then I wrote at the end of this, but I caution having all this cheer and delight while knowing others suffer. And then I said, but what's your intention? Your intention is not delighting in someone else's suffering. And your intention is not to go around boasting and bragging about all the stuff that you got, because don't nobody care about that. That's not where your worth lies. And it never will. If you don't have the pretty package, if you don't have all the money, if you don't have all this material stuff, what you got is you, authentically you. And you really got to love you where you are, because when it's all over, that's all you got. You can't take any of this with you. It doesn't matter. And if something really bad were to happen to you, God forbid, or someone you loved, and they were held up in the hospital, you would not be going, what happened to the Mercedes? Like, come on. And I often think to myself, I go, self, I know Jesus was tired. He was tired of y'all. He was tired of us. Be of good cheer. Peace I leave you. Treat people right. No, instead, you haven't read. You've created all of these subsets and groups. Ain't nobody asked for all that. Like, I can only imagine, right? But then on the alternative side, he knew it was going to be like this, but we don't have to be. We can show up better for ourselves and for other people. And the Course in Miracles is really, really teaching me about that. And for those who don't know about the Course, A Course in Miracles is a spiritual text that really teaches about love, right? Or how to call in love, or right. I think it also really shows us how our ego, um, our fear-based thinking really blocks the true power that we all have in us. And it has these simple daily lessons and contemplations to help us shift from fear-based actions into love. And this lesson in this section on the devoted teacher is encouraging me to continue chipping away at my ego and remove this idea of just being perfect and everything being perfect, um, because it blocks my ability or our ability to teach authentically, just like authentically. Um, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm not going to ever know all the things that I want to know. I'm not going to ever even be able to read all the books that I have on my bookshelf, and I want more books. I want a whole room that is just a library. Um, and I don't have to have everything perfect because, again, my worth was already established. And so for you, because I'm gonna wrap and tap this up, um, you keep radiating joy. Continue to, like the channel, be rich in spirit, nurture yourself, and remember that your worth was already established. Don't let anyone make you feel less than, because it's not true. Every hair on your head has been counted. You might not know the number, but the king does. All right. So that's it. That's all. Y'all get into the glamour of the Lord. That was deep, because we getting deep in this even like level of like introspection and healing and what this channel is about, and what people are resonating with. I think, and y'all let me know, put it in the comments. This is the type of healing and the type of deep work most people won't do. They won't read Florence Scovel shit. They won't even listen to the affirmations, but they want their lives to change. I remember Sister Joyce Meyer saying one time, and I never forgot it. It was just so good. She said, everybody wants to walk on water, but no one wants to get out the boat. Rich in spirit, we get out the boat. We get out the boat. Not only do we get out the boat and walk on water, we help other people get out the boat and walk on water too. Why? Because we can. All right. Okay. Next time, I am going to talk about my meditation work. I'm really happy to say I am now celebrating 1 year as a certified meditation coach and instructor. And meditation is something that I do every day, every single day. But I was listening to some channel messages from the group Quo. It's from a few years ago, but it was about synchronicity. And one of the different ways that we see synchronicities is not just in saying 1111, 222, 444, but it's in different symbols, somatic awarenesses. You might see a certain bird all the time. It is specific to you. And what that led to was, even once you build up these muscles of realizing that there's more mental power that you have at your disposal, you will start looking at these symbols, these synchronicities, and start asking yourself questions like, what was I thinking about before I saw this? You'll start having your own symbolism, book and journals, so that you understand what these things mean for you and your situation. And then you're able to do even more extraordinary things. Like you could mentally send healing to someone. And some of this stuff we do unconsciously, but if you were consciously doing it, sending positive words and vibrations to someone that is going through a rough time, seeing and feeling someone in their right work, doing the job that only they can do, that they were put on this earth. And then, months, weeks, or years later, seeing that actually manifest in that person's life. And this telepathy work was being used back in the day in the USSR. And there's a declassified telepathy doc that the CIA declassified in 2023. And what I've been doing with AI is I have been doing these projects documenting all of my meditations, somatic experiences, visions, symbolize all these things I'm seeing, and then running these SWOT analysis against them to see like, what are the themes, where can I improve, where can I deepen the frameworks, and maybe eventually teach others how to hone in on noticing these energy shifts in their body, knowing how to create proper energy circuits, grounding circuits for intentional guided meditations. And so I said to myself, what is, some of this stuff is related. Breath work, meditation, visualization. So I decided to put download the doc and upload it into this project to have that doc run an analysis against my meditation analysis. And I was blown away by the synchronicities, right? And one of the things that was interesting is that this one Russian woman who was working with basically their intelligence to help find people, to help move things with her mind. She could be in one room and moving something with her mind in another room. And I said, let me tell you something. Don't get me started. I will be like an X-Men person out here. Okay. I'm going to be tearing it up in the best way. Because again, intention. So I went on a bit of a tangente, but I hope that, this discussion about the ego and your worth resonated with you and just reminded you of how important and wonderful and amazing that you are. You may not feel it every day. That's okay. We don't always feel amazing. Sometimes we feel terrible. Sometimes things are just effed up. That's all right. Every day you wake up, that means you got another day to go at it again. So go at it again, but know inherently your worth was already established. You are priceless. Okay. If this resonated with you, leave a comment, give me a like, subscribe. We'll be back soon to talk more metaphysics, manifestation, and just being rich in spirit. So thank you again. And I'm really, really appreciative to all my new subscribers and everyone who found the Florence Scovel Shin video to be something that was right on time. And to all those folks who talk about having all of their quotes around their house, I do. The one that's in front of me right now that I will leave you with is all that is mine by divine right now comes to me under grace in perfect ways. All right, y'all.